I'm Abby Earle, and I'm a territory sales manager with Altria Group Distribution Company. So, for those who don't know or unfamiliar with Altria, it's actually the parent company for Philip Morris, our flagship brand you'll probably recognize as Marlboro. And then we also own U.S. Smokeless Tobacco, John Middleton Pipe Cigars, and then we actually just developed our own company called Newmark, which is designed to come up with innovative tobacco products. So, our organization, compared, for the sake of this video, I'm going to compare to our biggest competitor, at least in this region, which is going to be RJ Reynolds. They have the brands Camel, and they definitely have the largest market share next to us. So, for the first one with autonomy, we are actually probably pretty similar to RJ Reynolds. The call structure that we have is going to be slightly different. They don't see as many stores, they only go to bigger accounts and focus their efforts on that. But we end up actually getting more face time with each of our accounts, and just typical of a sales position, we're basically given our territory and said, hey, go and run with it, how you want to do your hours, whether you want to work 9 to 6, whether you want to work 8 to 5, if you don't want to take a lunch, it's completely up to you. There's no set work schedule. So as long as we see all of our accounts and do all of our work, make sure we take care of our sales initiatives, we're really free to do it however we want. And obviously, because we're such a highly regulated industry in the tobacco, we do have some confines as far as legal obligations and requirements. But the really nice thing about this sales position is that we're actually given the reins to really decide how we want to help each account grow their own business. Now, every store is going to be different. A big convenience store that pumps a lot of volume is going to have a different profitability method and what they want to achieve versus a small ma and pa store. So we can kind of look at and individually tailor based on our data to see what it is that they want to do. And we actually work on game plans within our own territory to try to help either grow volume or to just help even in little share of market. So we actually do use a lot of methods to promote this autonomy. The first one, we do have skunk works actually. We every so often, if you choose to, you can actually volunteer to be part of a team. And these teams will get together for a period of, a couple months and work on specific initiatives or projects. So examples would be territory game plans. We had specific teams for certain initiatives we had, or even section game plans that we can roll out to the entire district. And then we also have an organizational structure that really supports that independent action. We not only have an award program that you can basically win as much as you want, and these prizes are pretty phenomenal. They're not just little, they can be anywhere from $100 to $500. And then our bonus is actually tied to our performance rating and how we've done throughout the year. So it really behooves you to join these teams, to get involved, and to do a little extra beyond just your normal work requirements. Now, as far as innovativeness, we're a little bit lower compared to RJ. We do invest heavily in research and development, but that's another branch that we don't really see as the sales force and the sales arm of the company. And there's a severe lack of training towards innovation. So while we put a lot of money into research, we don't necessarily put a lot of money into technology. And I feel as though we're always a little bit behind as far as, whether it's computer software or even just point of sale in the actual field itself. We didn't even get iPads until recently. And once we got those iPads, we don't really do a good job of integrating that training so that people that aren't as familiar with them will still use the old systems and the old computers. RJ Reynolds actually invests really heavily in their merchandising resources, And since our only outlets of advertising are direct in the store and one-to-one, it is vital that you have a presence in each store. So their pieces of POS are usually lighted, they're vibrant, they stick out, they really show, they have counter displays. It's really easy to spot, and that really impacts the customers when they come into the store. And so we also struggle with software issues. We're always a step behind. I know I spend many hours on the help desk call line just trying to get any sort of information to help debug a system or a software that's gone awry. And it's just one of those things that we don't really have the training behind to reinforce some of those benefits. Now, as far as proactiveness, we're pretty proactive compared to RJ. We constantly have new brands and new programs that will be there to combat any things that they put out. Example, they launched a brand called Camel Crush, and we ended up launching a very similar product, but we put promotional resources behind it to try to draw that crowd away from them. And we also launched our e-cigarette well before they did. And then with competitive aggressiveness, with our programs, we are extremely competitive compared to RJ Reynolds. We have a lot of pricing structures that in different share of space requirements so that we have to have a maximum of the district share with a cap at 65%. And so we really leverage a lot of our programs to make sure that we stay the market leader. And then with risk taking, we're pretty low. We're pretty strong in the market, and so we don't usually pursue anything that is not carefully calculated. So the two dimensions that I thought were the most relevant to my company would, for one, be the autonomy, because without that, you can't really foster innovation and creativity. And without that autonomy, you get stuck in a structure where when we're in the industry that we're in tobacco and cigarette sales are actually declining nationally, you have to be willing to reduce costs and be more efficient with your time. And then also innovativeness, I believe, would be the next biggest thing, just because it is such a regulated industry. So we need to be able to reduce those costs. So the specific reasons why we don't really do a good job of fostering innovativeness is we just don't have the adequate training behind it. We don't utilize our resources, our people, and our programs. The example I gave earlier with the iPads, nobody ever uses them. Everyone just refers to the old system because it takes longer, because we don't have that training behind to streamline it and make it a more efficient process. And then also, we don't really have much training behind the programs that we do have. So we have blogs, we have all sorts of training online that you can connect with other TSMs across the country and figure out best practices. And we don't really know how to use them. Hardly anybody accesses them, and it's not really incorporated into our day-to-day work. And so nobody ever thinks to go on them. And then autonomy, I think, is really encouraged because of those teams that we have. Not only do those teams really encourage you to get involved and to work on projects that can actually grow the business, but that leads into those prizes that we get. And then also our bonus is directly tied to it. So we have the culture behind to make sure and support. We also have half day every other Fridays. And it's really just about working smarter and not harder. And then I believe that if we could just get some better training around these new programs, that we really would be able to increase the level of entrepreneurial orientation in that innovation side. I believe that having a general workshop, whether that would be a biannual or an annual, just to make sure that we actually are aware of everything that is going on within our company, the different things that we've come up with, different programs, different resources, and where to find them. And then I think personally that within our units that we should designate a person that is the innovation lead. And their job is at every unit meeting to bring one piece of either a best practice or some form that they found within our resources and be able to present that at our monthly meetings just so that it's a more common practice and that it's encouraged more.